Hey, what's going on, people? You're watching TLDTV. We're joined for another episode of that awesome podcast today, getting into it. So in the UK and somewhat worldwide, we're kind of winding down from the lockdown, kind of going back out into the world. Hairdressers, barbers are open. Hopefully this doesn't age terribly and we go back in. But yeah, hopefully the worst is behind us. What's the mood out there? What's our lockdown experience been like so far?
Well, I'm in the heart of the Balkans, so here it's not over. It's actually it has re-intensified a bit. So the mood, I don't know. I mean, some people I think that are cured even without attracting it in the first place. So it depends on from a person to person, in my opinion. Sometimes, the panic can aggravate stuff. So
yeah, the more panic over there. LJ, how you feeling over there?
It's quite good now at home, both my mum and my brother have had their first jabs, so they're safe. It's just kind of little old me. Can't really go out and see the mates much because you kind of have to be outside and everything. But I'm desperately trying to get one of those jabs for the under-30s. I didn't. They said recently, was it the Moderna or the Pfizer jab? They're trying to give to everyone under 30 because its shelf life is shorter than the other one. So
yeah.
But other than that, it's kind of been a bit of same old, really. Like there's just a bit more glimmer of hope. It's like the light of the tunnel is a bit closer than it was.
Yeah, nice. And Emma, how's your lockdown adventure been?
It's definitely been an adventure. I think I've been lucky because I've obviously worked full time the whole way through. So, living on my own, I think a big fear that I had was like, oh my gosh, if I don't have any work, then I'm going to go crazy. So I think that's really helped with, being at home a lot. It's kind of kept my mind occupied. I also think it's been a nice opportunity to learn some new skills that you wouldn't really have the time to do before, because I guess you're kind of always socializing or you've got plans in the diary. So I guess it's been a nice opportunity to fill that kind of spare time in the evenings and the weekends to try and to do something a bit different. I learned how to hula hoop, for example. It's really random, but I just thought, why not? Like I saw somebody doing it in the park. I was like, that's really cool. And just brush up on some other skills. So yeah, that's been enjoyable for me, but it's definitely, I think it's been a long road. I think everyone's a bit tired now, and it's nice to see that we've hit our first timeline, because that gives you quite a lot of hope for obviously the rest of the phases that are yet to come. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good now.
Yeah, nice. Sounds positive. ZaZa, any hula hooping in your life? What have you been doing through lockdown?
No hula hooping. I actually have a fitness hoop somewhere, but no, I haven't managed to break it out. But I've actually started cycling again, and just seeing how far I can go, how often I can do it, and that's been really nice. Just to, hopefully lose some weight, but also just clear my mind and save some petrol.
You cycle outside then?
Yeah. So
not like a sit still one or a Peloton thing.
No, I couldn't take that. No, I'm cycling like central London and round and about, and just get some exercise in.
Nice. Any other new things? So any other new skills or new habits developed out there during lockdown?
Yeah, I'm not very good at it yet, but I have been teaching I've been teaching myself Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. I've been wanting to do photos better. I've always sucked at photos, so photos getting better is a good thing. But I also started teaching myself Cinema 4D, which is like a 3D special effects software, and it was a lot to take in, but after a bit of work and fiddling with all the models they got in there, essentially you can do what the people do for like the Marvel films and everything. If you've got enough time and enough patience, you can sit there and you can make a building explode or whatever you want, essentially.
Yeah, and that feels like it's been the biggest gift, that time factor. Like my keyboard skills are massively improved as well. I got a notification today saying, because it's funny, because it's like we just post when we first went into lockdown, right? So it's like I signed up for this like tutorial to teach you keyboard, and they just sent me the alert today. Do you want to renew for another year? I'm like, yeah, maybe. Like, I think I might run with it. Has anyone noticed anything about themselves in terms of their personality? There's a world out there full of introverts and extroverts, and I think how we cope through lockdown definitely made us aware of which one we are. Is anyone able to position themselves into one of those boxes?
I have always been like, according to some personality tests, I've always been like an introvert, but I always like struggled. I wanted, there's also a FOMO. It's like a fear of missing out. So I've always been trying to like fit in more and more and more, try to never miss out things. And this lockdown just like helped me like begin to be myself for real and to not feel guilty about, not attending in somewhere or, not being part of something, because no one is actually, right? Everyone is locked in home. So and yeah, it helped me a lot actually, like tap into my creativity that I always wanted to do. So whether it comes to exercise, physical workout or anything, I just like poured myself into like creativity and to finding creative ways to do it because I love doing that. But as I said, because we were all locked, so yeah, it was like online classes, or you just like simply you just dive into your own. As an introvert, it helped me see, because I was also watching, and I'm watching TikTok during, so, and they always said like, oh no, like for introverts nothing has changed because but for me it's like, yeah, that's true, but on the other hand, I always tried to be an extrovert. That is like the value in my society, for example, to be like an emotionally open person. But and this helped me like to not feel like guilty, as I said, and to actually tap into my introvert and just like be more and more expressive. So I've never had better expression in art like I have this last year and a half. Not only that, the panic and every negative emotion that came with the pandemic, that it helped me like process it and just like try to find inspiration, but also because I found some positive as well.
That's right. I definitely feel like introverts are winning right now. LJ, you said Adobe, Marvel, and Illustrator in the same sentence. I'm assuming introvert over there.
You'd be surprised, I feel like it's been like a kind of a reflective time, really, because I know it's kind of like the first time, at least in my life, that everything's stopped. Like everything you had going, you always got lots of things going on that overlap each other. And it's like one of the first few times in my life, and I think a lot of people's, where it's all just gone, and you kind of go, well, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. And I don't know, for me, it's been a bit like, oh, get yourself in order. Like I don't know, particularly as you've got a lot of time alone and things like that, you're aware of your routine and your habits and your bad habits more and more and more. And for me, I think it's been a bit of a like, that's something really stupid that you do all the time that you could just stop doing. And it's like, let's do that.
Yeah. Where would you position yourself if you had to then? Extrovert or introvert?
I've definitely felt not having people around. Like I'm lucky in a way that I've had a friend who was vulnerable, and he was like, I want you to be my one friend that I can see. So I've always had him to kind of go and speak to and everything. But I definitely realized I need people. I need people around me. Not necessarily affirmation, but like just socializing, like just to talk to people about normal stuff.
We said the sound.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And not so.
No, it's good. It's good. Just like slap it a bit, yeah.
Yeah, useful to know. Emma, what's your feeling?
Well, I think I've always been known as an extrovert. I'm really outgoing. I tend to overshare a lot. I have often over the years overcompensated a lot because I don't know, for whatever reason that might be. But I think that I was initially, I was really worried about spending too much time on my own because I'm super sociable. And I think after a couple of days by myself, I tend to get in my own head a little bit and can like bring myself down a bit sometimes. So I was really worried about getting into that place. But I think I've actually feel like I've grown quite a lot because I've been forced to kind of spend more time alone, and kind of I'm less afraid to kind of go there. And like if you're feeling bad, like I'll always try and shrug it off or just occupy my mind with something else. But I think obviously we've had to face a few more like maybe demons and things like that you would just distract yourself with before. So I think for me, I definitely I'm actually enjoyed spending time alone more than I thought I was going to. You know, like now I'll buy myself flowers, and that'll just be nice just to like put the flowers in the vase and just appreciate them looking nice on the windowsill. And I spend a lot more time kind of on myself. And I think, you know, the other thing is I thought, oh no, I'm going to become one of these screen time zombies. But actually, if anything else, I've learned that I'm much prefer the simpler things in life, as opposed to, you know, I think a lot of people have turned to technology, which is great because it's great. There's a lot of great skill sets in technology. But for me personally, I'm kind of like, I think my screen time is only like an hour a day. So I think I've learned that actually I really enjoy the simple things more. So yeah, I think there was an initial wobbly period, but I think now I'm feeling really happy with the lessons I've learned about me. So yeah, I would still class myself as an extrovert, but I think I'm more at peace with being alone now than I was before.
See, it's cool. There's a lot of self-reflection going on here, guys. ZaZa?
I think I've always been an ambivert. As an only child, I'm used to spending periods of time by myself, amusing myself. I like to go on holiday by myself. Like, so time alone is good. But then obviously I'm a performer, so I'm quite an extrovert in that sense. But over the past year, I think it's been really good to just chill, to just decompress, to just like forcibly take time, because this would be like a really busy season for me right now. This time last year as well, it was kind of like everything stopped, but it really allowed me clarity to actually get to know my parents a little bit more. I live with them, so that's really nice, and actually come together with a lot of communities that I'm part of online, and just, you know, really support one another. Singing as well. It's difficult to sing in a choir, like not together, but we've somehow made it through. So yeah, lockdown it's been interesting, but I think life has just adapted. And as someone who's kind of used to being alone, yeah, it's been nice. It's been good. So yeah.
Nice. So all coping well, and that tunnel that we spoke about, we're getting there. Does anyone feel as though the government's had more of a hand in their life than kind of before? Because I know we're touched by, you know, the taxes or bills or whatever else, but did anyone feel at any point like they were being a bit too micromanaged?
I think this whole situation is a case of the government taking an inch and turning it into a mile, particularly with, like, you know, lockdown is only going to be for a small amount of time. And yeah, 1 year later, we're kind of still here. just all these laws. I've heard of like planes turning round because a toddler didn't have his mask on, or I don't know if it was a girl or a boy, but yeah, it was just kind of things that, okay, yes, we're in a pandemic, but also like common sense, common sense. You can't make a law about common sense. And I think, yeah, there's been a lot of things that I think have been handled maybe not quite so, yeah, commonsensical.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. I think that we've lived with this pandemic long enough now to know what the risks are, how to mitigate the risks, and we just need to move forward with the knowledge that we have now that we didn't have before, and as responsible adults, just do everything that's within our individual power to move forward cautiously, like with the knowledge that we have. If you want to meet a friend, that's you and your friend as consenting adults basically saying to each other, we know what the risks are, and we consent to one another, but that by meeting we are putting ourselves at risk. If that's between two parties, then I think obviously it's difficult. With minors it's slightly different, but with adults, certainly if you have loved ones that you want to protect, then you will protect them and you'll do what it takes to do that. So I think we all just need to be given a bit more trust. We can't be like we've just discussed, we can't be micromanaged, and you can't tell people how to have common sense. I completely agree with that comment.
Okay. Go on, May. I was interested just because you kind of got an outside perspective. Like, how was the situation? What was the government doing where you are?
Yeah, I think that here people wanted that, like they asked for it in a way, because they couldn't handle the pressure of the situation. I think at moments is like too much. I think that some people felt too much responsibility, because I don't know. None of us have faced this kind of situation. Like rarely people face this kind of. I think that people wanted to be micromanaged in a way, but the government is also very vulnerable, in my opinion, at times. So it seems like they are also losing themselves, and it's normal because they're consistent of people. So it's normal to lose ground at some points. So currently, I think it's really currently people are divided actually to people that are commonsensical and more feeling more safe and feeling happier, even maybe that they've learned a lesson a bit from the period, from the time. And there are people that are becoming way more fearful. It's because it doesn't stop, but in the end, the fear is an emotion that will stop at some point, so it feels a cycle. I don't know, but yeah, it's divided currently. So
yeah, and remind us what country you're in, just for clarity.
Yes, North Macedonia. Macedonia, we still call it Macedonia. It's North Macedonia now. It's heart of the Balkans. It's Southeast Europe.
Yeah, awesome. And
Very
LJ,
small.
how did you feel? Do you, at any point, just to get it out there in the open, did you feel like you were being lied to at any point by the government? Wait, where's your sound gone?
No, you're muted. Get the mic back.
You're too
don't hear you.
This mic was a bad investment.
Horrible.
Yeah. We still can't hear you, by the way.
We're muted. Okay.
Keep trying to fix it, and we'll talk on. Yeah. As soon as we can hear you, we'll be like, "Hey, LJ, we got you." Yeah. ZaZa, I'll throw it to you.
Do I feel like I've been lied to
by the government? Yeah.
This is going to be controversial, but massively, yes, I do.
I don't know if it's controversial. Honestly,
bring the controversy.
I believe that this is a real thing. I've had friends of mine who've lost family members. I myself have had COVID. But the reality is, 99% of people who get COVID recover. So I'm not sure that that necessarily falls into pandemic. I don't think that the way that this has been handled, a lot of the fear mongering, a lot of the, focus on the absolutely extreme cases rather than, once again, common sense. And I just feel like there's a lot at play behind the scenes, and I'm not like a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I think a lot of this has been used to come in and gradually take rights that the government couldn't do before, rights to enter people's homes without their consent, rights to deny people entry into places, going on holiday. What are your reasons for being here? Do you have proof of this? Do you have proof of that? And I just think it's really intrusive, and we've kind of acquiesced bit by bit. Okay, we have to wear a mask. Okay, we have to do this. Now it's looking at vaccination, across the country, and looking at getting almost 90% of people, and then questions of, will we be able to travel? What sort of things will we be allowed to do? And I just think this is not right. So yeah, I do feel like we've been lied to massively.
Yeah, I guess one of the tricky parts was, like, just because we have access to like every country's news now, like, and I'd see, okay, the UK are doing this, then you look, Scotland are doing like the complete opposite, and then across Europe, which kind of always just seem to be 2 weeks ahead, which is horribly foreboding. Like right now, they're doing something completely different again. Did you ever feel an element of confusion in there, Emma, in terms of what was actually going on, what was the right course to take?
I mean, I certainly think that you'd get a lot more buy-in from people if there was more of a united front. I think when you have government leaders bickering between each other and, commenting on each other's processes and practices and calling each other out, it certainly doesn't help with the buy-in from the people. And I think it actually drives people away more. I mean, in terms of, the stages at which lockdown restrictions have ended, all varying. And it causes frustration, because Wales, for example, were opening campsites and things 2-3 weeks before the UK, and on the news you've got all of the Welsh, off on their nice little trips in their caravans, and everyone in the UK and Scotland sat at home thinking, like, what? Like, there's not a wall between us. It's still free movement, and if I'm being honest, I really don't think they're policing it that much. I mean, people are moving a lot more freely than they're making out, we'll crack down, we'll impose fines, we'll do all of these things. And it's like, you don't have the numbers, frankly, and everyone knows it. So yeah, it's definitely frustrating, and the confusing messages and the criticisms between the leaders of each region definitely kind of makes it laughable almost.
I feel like I got sick as well of seeing world leaders catching COVID. I know it's harsh to say, but it just felt like if you're the people like in charge of no one catching COVID and you keep catching COVID, it set like a weird standard. When Boris got it, I was like, really? Like Trump is like, really? It was like, yeah, it was a bit wild.
You can't tell everyone to social distance, and then you're clearly not social distancing enough to prevent yourself from picking it up. So
you know what I mean? I really wanted to hear from like the guy that didn't have COVID. like what did you do? Tell me what steps you took. And then LJ, you got any sound over there?
No.
Nothing yet?
No, we don't hear you.
LJ's just a pretty face today, I think, for us all to look
at.
at.
You have to get into your method acting bag right now, I think, to make it work.
You should take up some miming.
It's so good. That's how it goes. There's worse things that could happen.
Is this better? I think this
Yeah.
is better. It was a selection of the two, so yeah.
Nice.
I'm back, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, and any thoughts about the kind of the human rights infringement angle, LJ?
Oh, there's a definite kind of creep towards it. You know, if you give people the opportunity to take more power, they're going to take it. Like, let's just be honest. But the thing is, you got to remember is whatever powers you give them, we're going to have to fight tooth and nail to take it back. And I don't think people are quite aware of that yet. Like, it's not going to be easy getting the government to stopping protests and to stop doing all the things that they've come used to be doing. Right? I mean, they took the piss with what was it with all the contracts they gave out for the PPE. You know, they're giving it out to their mates and their schoolmates, freaking businesses, and it's just a bit like, oh, and you expect us to trust you after this? Like, you know, it's a kind of a look at someone's actions, not their words, and you'll get a much clearer picture of what they're thinking sometimes, you know, particularly with governments and things like that. And yeah, I mean, for instance, like when they brought in the Patriot Act in America after 9/11, it was like to stop the terrorists, but now the Patriot Act is used to spy on US citizens, and we've got something similar here with our home surveillance thing, and we share all that information with the states, and they share information with us. It's oddly, it's creepy, but to think that they're not wanting to take that a step further is silly. You know, it's so obvious. They're doing it. They're doing it on the news. You're watching them restricting protests and everything that's been going on.
Well, always ask when you say they. Yeah,
they would most probably be who's in government at the time. So it would be Boris and Hancock and those lot. It seems that they seem to be making a lot of decisions and a lot of the wrong ones, and it seems a lot of the doctors and the advisors are very frustrated with them. Yeah. So I think that would be the they in this case.
Yeah, so it's like, I get the argument and I always hear, but I guess for me, I've kind of just always thought that the government just has access to all our data and is tracking most of the things that we do. Like ever since we had, like, when did GPS come about? Whenever that was, it's like clear, like your phone location is being pinged all over the place. And it sounds crazy saying it, but it's just common knowledge, right? Really? No?
Well, yeah, have you ever watched Hunted on Channel 4? Great program, but
yeah,
the powers of the state that they use to catch people are like, I mean, I love it. I find it so impressive because it's beyond anything I could ever comprehend. But like, yeah, there's absolutely, every time you enter your email address into something, they you know, and everyone talks about, you know, when things pop up on your phone, like advertisements pop up on your phone, you're like, oh, I was talking about that the other day, and now it's on my phone, like, and it's not a conspiracy theory. It is your phone collecting data on what your interests are, so it can constantly attract you to pick the phone up again and buy something. So data
overtook oil as the most valuable commodity.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah, like Facebook, Google, all these people, they're all spending and buying money, and it's all us. It's our data. That's why they're well, if anything's free, you're the product.
Exactly. Which is why I guess I kind of push back a little bit with you know, the people kind of, they're trying to steal it, they're trying to get all this data on us and trying to track us. In my mind, it's like we're like way kind of past that in terms of everything that's going on in the world, you know? I don't know.
I mean, because the problem is they use that data and it's not manipulated almost like on a individual scale. They do it to sway populations to think certain ways, you know? It was the whole Cambridge Analytica scandal when they manipulated the Brexit vote and apparently the Trump 2016 election, but beforehand they were testing it in all these countries in Africa and swaying elections left, right and centre and causing havoc, and they did it all through Facebook and Google. They mined the data, and they could tell people how to feel.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I just feel like they're doing not necessarily what they're supposed to do, but it's like everybody's doing the same thing. Like the guy that sells you petrol is doing that. Beyonce's doing that. It's like from top to bottom, like everyone's doing that. So
I think that you're not aware what data you're giving to who, though. I think that's the problem. You don't know when you're giving that away. Like, I don't know what Facebook has on me.
Everything. And so if you're on your phone, like I think
Yes,
the ideology that
pretty
your phone
much.
is private is like so weird to me. It's like while being connected to networks all over the planet and pinging back and forth from space. It's like the computers aren't private, like your phone isn't private. And again, it sounds weird conspiracy, but again, I think it is just like common knowledge. Your phone's not a private device. It's not, secluded.
Well, that's why we constantly have phishing attacks, and cybersecurity is such a hot topic at the moment, because it's so easy just by clicking a link by accident because you think it's genuine for all of your data to just be given to that email's come from. So yeah, I don't think it's difficult for people to get a hold of your information. Everybody, Big Brother is watching.
I don't know, just because it's easy to get your information doesn't mean that that's the way it should be, surely. Like, so, surely people should be able to say, actually, I don't want Facebook. I don't want you to know this about me. You need to delete that.
I think you can, though. People do have the right to contact a company and ask them to remove all data that company holds on them. But like you say, like if you sign up to a website and they give you the box that says, oh, do you mind if we share your data with a third party? And you click, yeah, it's fine because I just want to get this transaction over and done with. Then it's those third parties, and you don't know who they are, that they have your data. But if it's a company that you know or you're aware has your data, you can legally request for all of your data to be removed.
There was a story about a guy. It was within a large documentary, but it was just one of the threads, and he was suing either Facebook or Google to get he wanted to know what they have in him. He said, it's my information about me. Surely I should know what you have on me. And I don't know how it ended up, but at the time of the documentary was released, they were meant to turn up to court and they didn't. And he's like, well, I don't really know where to go from here. Like, how do you force them to hand it over? Like, he kept trying to jump through all the legal hurdles, and it was like, they just open up a new room for him to run around in, and then he'd be distracted. They'd send him off somewhere else, and it was very strange, because the moment you let one person do it, everyone.
Yeah, I guess ultimately, the question is, would the government need to go to such drastic lengths to get the data that so many people are afraid of the government having? As to, because there's still people who don't believe in it as a thing, that they don't believe in COVID. There's like, these people are like walking around, they're online, literally don't believe in COVID. So obviously, if they don't believe in COVID, they don't believe in the vaccine either. So like, it's like avalanche effect of conspiracy on conspiracies. But yeah, like, I just don't feel like the government would need to go to such drastic lengths or to get
and drive the economy into complete ruin at the same time. Like, they could have been cautious with the pandemic without completely destroying the economy at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't think particularly it's the government who's interested in data. I think it's more private companies who have something to benefit from selling people's stuff or selling people's data. I think in terms of the government, they're probably not that interested.
Yeah, that's how I feel. So I don't know. I just feel like that group of people, they don't listen. And actually, that's just disrespectful. I can't say they don't listen to facts. let me rephrase, they don't fully acknowledge all of the elements of facts all the time, that kind of conspiracy element. And I guess the worry maybe going forward is I don't think they go away, those people, after COVID goes. I think they just kind of move on to the next thing and then the next thing after that. But let's move on to something sunnier. What are we looking forward to when life, should I say normal? When life is less COVID-y, what are we looking forward to doing?
Beer in a pub garden with some friends. It's the simple things, right? Yeah, that's the first thing.
I hear you.
Yeah, I'm always a bit nervous about the I hate using this phrase, the new normal, because as I said earlier, like I kind of got used to this enjoying the small things. And oh, sorry, was I interrupting you then? I didn't know.
No.
Oh, yeah, I kind of got like enjoying just going for walks and enjoying the simple things in life. So I'm kind of like, you know, I've got used to my own personal space. If I'm in a beer, I can't wait to get in the beer garden, believe me. But I'm also kind of nervous that if someone brushes past me, I'm going to be aggravated by them. I'm like, oh, you're in my personal space. Like I can kind of see like it going that way a little bit. But I think in general, like obviously we all want to have a good hug with a loved one or a friend, and we all want to, I want to travel. Like I need sand in between my toes and I need sun on my skin. So that's my thing I'm looking forward to most. But yeah, I also feel like I've got a bit of nervousness. I might like attack someone that comes into too close to me.
Yeah, holding on to that 1 meter, 2 meter type of range.
Yeah.
I think we're programmed.
No, I think that will be a problem for a lot of people though, like learning how to be social again. Like so many people have been trapped for so long. Like obviously it's not extreme, but like if enough people struggle, it could cause some problems, couldn't it?
And in the UK, we're already quite like socially awkward as it is, you know, pre-COVID. So yeah, it might present some problems.
I think dating will be interesting as well, because like a lot of people have been hiding behind apps and computer screens, and you know, there's been a lot more of that going on. So you know, I think dating could be a really interesting observation now as well, is seeing how, you know, how do you even flirt anymore? I don't know. Apart from like, if you can't send a winky face, how do you even flirt?
And just as you mentioned that, Emma, this one of the things I'm conscious of is there's been probably 2 shifts in culture since we've been in lockdown. I think one was the kind of BLM element, where we're kind of now getting ready to go out into a world with these things present. So you're going to walk past police arresting people more often, and that's going to be a thing more, you know. And then 2, in terms of, I don't know if you'd want to extend it to the Me Too movement, but there's the women's rights movement is brewing right now. And in terms of dating and such, I think I have to use it. The new normal hasn't been established with that, and I know a lot of things are in court as well, related to that as well. So I'm curious to see. Like I'm out the game already, but I'm just going to be a casual spectator and observer just to see how that actually plays out. I'm curious.
Yeah, I myself, I think that. Yeah, new normal I don't like as well whatsoever. I mean, everything evolves, you understand? So I think that actually like COVID has left and is leaving lots of psychological traces in people. So you either use them, you either find ways to use what's happening to you on a psychological and emotional psychological level, or you just like, but you cannot, if you survive, right? You will improve in any way. So I don't think there'll be a new normal. I think that everything evolves, and it will be better if you try to find use of what's coming. It can be, because everything progresses, even though for some of us might seem as regression. Everything is for a purpose. Mm-hmm. So everything, you can have use of everything, and just like, okay, where's the benefit in this, you know? is what we. And I think many, just like we say, people are like complaining from COVID, but if you hear us all individually, we all find some good stuff in it. We've all changed to the positive, or like have made lots of self-introspection, just like you said, and things like that. We have all evolved. So it's interesting to me that everyone complains about it, but actually if you hear everyone individually, what they think and say, it actually has improved them. They like, oh yes, I found more time for my children. Oh yes, I found more time for myself. It's like everyone has actually, like, because we're humans, actually, we complain, but we are very resilient.
Yeah.
So we do find lots of ways to. That's how
People just love to moan. That's the problem. Even when you're happy, you just want to moan about stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's human as well. So I guess.
Yeah. It's just with the dynamic you talk about there, May, as well. Like how far away from like handshakes and hugs do you guys feel like you are?
Today, for the first time, were you asking me? I'm sorry. Were you asking me?
Like everyone, I just want to know, like, what the vibe is.
Gladly hug you and kiss you. Yes.
Yeah, Stuart's got a few wines.
Yeah, but you've had COVID, you understand? ZaZa, you've had COVID, right?
Even before
I know.
I know. It's kind of strengthened by you of like.
This is why you call COVID.
This is why. That's the reason. Don't teach us, please.
Okay.
It's not that bad, guys. It's not.
How about the others? So ZaZa's cool. How are you guys feeling?
Bring on the love. I mean, I know a minute ago I'm probably contradicting myself now, because a minute ago I was saying, I don't want people to come near me in the beer garden, but that's strangers. Like, if I love you, I love you. Like, and if I care about you, then bring on the love and the hugs. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I've had a few wines, like, good luck getting me off you. Like, I love a good drunken kind of emotional hug. So yeah, I mean, I think it's like they've opened the beer gardens and it's all socially distanced, but when people are feeling like schmoozy, then they are, and you can't help it. People do what they got to do.
Yeah, I hear you. LJ?
I think handshakes might be a thing, just like generally soon, but like, yeah, hugs. I think I have my friends, because I've got 3 or 4 friends that have all had their jabs, which is great. And seeing them is quite nice, because you feel, I don't know, you feel a bit more comfortable around someone who's had their jab, I suppose. But just general public, yeah, I think general public, we got a way to go, because I don't know, I was going through London a little while ago, and there's, even though it's like the tube is like it's tight and busy, but people still keeping their distance. Like on the carriages, it's very spread out always, no matter how full, it's kind of quite evenly done, at least from when I've been there. So I wonder how long it will take for people to get used to not physical contact, but like closeness to people again. Like, surely our
trains and stuff,
bubbles have got bigger.
Yeah, paint the picture for me. What kind of closeness? I'm picturing like a packed tube train, that kind of thing, you mean?
Yeah, like how long would it take for that to be acceptable again? Like, it's probably going to be a long time. I think people have got used to the space.
Yeah, I think that when they say to people that when it's not the work from home guidance anymore, though, and they say that people can go back into the office, there's actually not that much you can do on the underground to prevent being like, at the moment, people get antsy and they put their seat on the bag the bag on the seat next to them, so somebody can't sit there, and then a little old lady comes on and everyone's eviling each other, like, give her your seat, like she's an old person, like, and there's all these funny unspoken kind of looks that people shoot each other. But I think eventually, when everyone's back in this, I mean, luckily a lot more people have taken up cycling, like ZaZa, a lot more people will be commuting to work in different ways maybe, but ultimately when the city's full again, people need to get to work, and people just get on with it. I personally think that masks on the underground and stuff should have always been a thing, and we should always have a choice to wear a mask on the underground without feeling like a weirdo for doing it. But I'm happy to keep the mask thing going, you know. I can fall asleep on the tube with my mouth open and no one can see, like, it's great. But but yeah, I think once people have to get close to each other, they'll just, like Maya was saying earlier, you just get on with the next step and take it all in your stride.
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm kind of hoping that work environment will kind of change and adapt as well. Like Maya was saying about evolving, like that just sounds like the perfect opportunity, because the office space, it was never like built at a time when even the internet was a thing like that, you know. And I think for so many people I've spoken to, when I ask them, is there a difference between the efficiency office versus home, they're like, no, it's just the travel takes a bit longer, you know. So I think if as a group of people we could manage to evolve in that regard, I think that would be welcomed. Anyone feel like they've made that shift? Has anyone been working from home for their job?
I've been working at home for a bit of this. Well, the most recent job I had, I have present tense. Yeah, I'm running online escape rooms. It's one of the few remote jobs I could get, but it's a lot of fun. I never realized it was a job, but it is. So that's good. I'd only ever done an escape room once in person, but it's interesting, like that. Yeah, I can run an escape room from home. It's so strange because there's, in half the games, there's genuinely someone in the Zoom call that's in an escape room, and like the people get to direct and everything. But it's, I don't know, like last year you wouldn't have thought of this ever being a thing, but yet here we are.
No, yeah.
I think it's really good that a lot of companies have realized that it is possible for their workers to work from home, and obviously overheads are drastically reduced. But I think there's something really important about human contact, about, you know, us getting together, about the social element, because the fact is we are human beings. We're supposed to live in community, and, you know, although it's served its purpose to stop the spread of this disease, you know, long term as human beings, like we need that even skin on skin contact, you know, when you're a child, you know, you put them against your skin, and that's how we communicate and contact with one another. So I don't think this is necessarily healthy in terms of like psychological issues. A lot of people have been suffering throughout this year because, you know, sometimes you just need a hug. You just need, you know, someone who loves you to give you a big old embrace. So I personally wouldn't want to see that long term, but in terms of working environments and streamlining that, yeah, cool.
Yeah, it does seem promising, and I'm hoping time will tell. And obviously, I think it'll come down to economics and trust, right? Whether or not employers are able to do it. What's our stamina bar like? I hate to be that guy, but if we were able to go, or I shouldn't say able, if we were to go back into lockdown, say again this year, do we feel like we'd be on the same mood, or do we feel like our stamina's about capacity right now in terms of what we can take?
I think it's too much.
I don't think people will react well if any of the phasing is retracted. I think that, frankly, I think people will just do what they want within their means, because I think people have had enough, especially the first lockdown was kind of like summer, and it was if you were going out for your daily walk, and you could get kind of some joy out of that because you were getting some UV rays, and it was lifting your mood a little bit. But we've just done 2 wintry stints, long, dark, cold, wintry stints, and I think that's probably taken people to some pretty like dark depths, and I don't think that anyone's prepared to tolerate it, especially now when the vaccine rollout's been fairly successful. And this is what they were pitching to us from a year ago. Once there's a vaccine, it's all going to improve. Like, there's actually no reasons now, with the knowledge that we have and with the vaccine that's rolled out, whether people choose to take it or not, but if our vulnerable people are protected, then I just don't think people are going to stand for you have to stay inside to protect people now, because it's like, well, no, you said that once a vaccine rolled out and once we'd done our bit, then that was going to be the start for, to see the end of the tunnel. I think people just need to learn to live with it now and just do everything they can within their powers to just be responsible and just be kind to other people and just be thoughtful about how other people might feel.
Do we feel that there should be any difference in treatment between those 2 groups of people, between the vaccinated and the non-vaccinated? And I'll put the had it's in the vaccinated category, even though hey, you can catch it again, which would be terrible. But they got antibodies. They're kind of safe over there.
This should be a podcast of itself.
Say again, May?
This should be a podcast of itself.
Yeah. But on this one, do we feel like there should be any difference in terms of should there be any travel restrictions, any locality restrictions for people who aren't vaccinated and don't have any antibodies?
I think people have been given a choice to have a vaccine, and people should be able to choose not to have it. Like, personally, I've had the vaccine. I was offered it because I have a medical reason in why I should be offered it. The way I thought about it was I could go either way. I don't mind having it and I don't mind not having it. And then I thought, well, I've probably put worse things in my body over the years, so I thought I'd probably be a hypocrite not to have it. So I could take it or leave it, and I thought, well, if I can take it or leave it, I may as well just have it. And it's potentially protecting me and potentially other people. So but yeah, I don't think that people should be kind of rounded up and condemned for choosing not to take the vaccine.
So no difference in treatment then?
No, I don't think so. I think I can understand why people would be frustrated at people who are careless, but if you choose not to have it and you're still being responsible, then why should you be treated?
What defines a careless person in this? You mean
like for
in
example,
regards to the vaccination? Or just
like if you had symptoms, like we all know what COVID symptoms are.
Okay, I understand. Okay, if you have symptoms and
you just thought,
yeah.
screw it, I'm going to go and travel and, and cough on everyone and whatever.
Okay, that's irresponsible. I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. Okay.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I don't know. I think even if you wanted to enforce some sort of, vaccinated people can come to this, unvaccinated can't, or a flight restriction thing, the problem comes down to, I think, how are you going to do it? Who is responsible for collecting that data and managing that data, and what are you connecting that to? So what other data is accessible from that? And is the state allowed to do that? Is that invading a bit too much, into our health, into this, saying that I thought your health background was private and confidential most of the time. I think it raises a lot of questions, like how would you do it, even if you wanted to? Like, how are you going to keep track of that? Like, I haven't had my jab, so I don't particularly know what the process is like, but are you getting beeped in through a system or what?
Everyone's
Like
getting their inserted microchip scans as they walk
yeah, the
in.
Bill Gates stuff, you know.
I knew
Walk
it.
in the door. Yeah,
Well, I hope that's a joke.
Yes, yeah.
of course.
Me too.
Oh my gosh.
The
Yeah.
reptilian overlords, they're real.
Yeah, so maybe
Somebody's going to
I
hump
hope
you
not.
down now.
yeah, either way, it's definitely going to be fun to see. I guess in ending, I think you know, a lot of people didn't make
Not
it
so
to
much
the
fun.
stage.
If you know, if we are obliged to do something that we don't want to, it's not gonna be fun.
Yeah.
Not for me at least. I'm sorry to correct you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, a lot of people didn't make it to this stage, which is, you know, I guess the main sadness. So there's the freedoms, but there's also lives that have been lost, which is sad. I think going out into the world, I think hopefully there's a more of an appreciation maybe for human life and for some of the things we maybe took for granted too much as we go out there, the non-financial things, just the small mercies basically. So yeah, hopefully, you know, in the weeks and the months ahead, we can make the most of the time that we do have. And yeah, we want to thank everybody who's been watching with us for the last hour or so. You've been watching that awesome podcast. Hope to see you again soon. Like, share, sub, all that good stuff. Till next time.